Alright, please excuse the heater running in the background, but it's winter and it's cold in my garage. So next victim, Pioneer PL670. Black plastic crap from the 80s. Dust cover's pretty beat up. And this material's just garbage. I have zero confidence. I mean, I'm surprised this has made it this far. Now, so this turntable came in and did not have this slip mat. We do have some parts turntables. We do have some Techniques and Pioneers that have these record size sensors. I just don't know if I have a slip mat with those cutouts in it. So right now it's just everything is an LP, right? Everything is a 33 full-sized LP. So what I'm going to do with this is, number one, confirm operation if I can. And we'll see what we may have to do to this turntable. Boy, that rubber band is kind of a challenge this morning. Right. Now it does have a stylus. It's a P-mount, and there is there's no tip on the stylus, so the stylus will have to be replaced. So I will have to do that. So when I do my test record, I'm going to use my crappy test record just to make sure it's functioning. And it's just probably going to slide right across the record. I'm going to get rid of this. Get that out of the way. So let's see what's going on. We have speed. We have I would assume that's supposed to lock. That's not locking, but it seems to work. And then we'll start it. And is it going to move? Okay, so it's moving over. And again, there's no diamond tip on that. At least I couldn't see one, and it's bent, so we're not going to keep it on there, but let's see. It made it to the end and came back. All right, cool. All right. So I guess the first order of business will be to... Now, I'm not sure what this is for. I have no idea what that would be to. Interesting. I don't know that I need to do a lot of service to the platter spindle for that assembly, but we'll take a look at it. This is going to need a pretty good cleaning. Give it the Bob Ross treatment here. Get rid of some of that stuff. We have a stash of these black plastic turntables, the 402 vinyl, because a lot of them are missing dust covers, and by the time you find a dust cover and buy it, I mean, these turntables really aren't worth a whole lot. $100 on a good day, I think. So, okay, I know I'm going to have to remove that. I'll probably do that off camera and figure out, I think I have a P-mount somewhere. I don't know if I have a new one or not. Looks like the feet are missing off of this. Oh, there it is. So feet are trashed, feet are gone. We have one. I think I have some feet that may fit this. I'll have to get into my stash and see. Man, it's so cold in this garage. It's 45. That's pretty dang cold. My heater works pretty well though, and it sits right above my bench, so it'll get it up to about the warmest I can get it in the winter. You know, if it's average temperatures, is about 55. If it's like super cold, oh man, I did that wrong. If it's super cold, 15, 20 below, I'll get it above freezing. I might get it to 45, and that's about it. Kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Yeah, I don't know what that would go to. Oh, got some more to remove here. Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of these black plastic turntables use the same style dust cover. So there's like a little ledge in the back of the turntable. I don't know if I have to remove. Oh, no, I don't. So you don't get a perfectly... Oh, what word am I looking for? Right, you don't get a perfectly like rectangular dust cover. You have this cut out in the back. I know I've seen a couple of JVCs like that, some Pioneers like that. So let's see first this tone arm elevator. So this, I assume, is the locking mechanism for that. And I can hear the click, but it's not locking. Now, I don't know that I'm going to spend any time looking at this to see if I can fix it. Because I'm sure what's going on is there's a little tiny piece of plastic that's probably broken. Excuse my big fat head. That's probably broken down in there. And yeah, I can see from the side there's a piece of plastic that broke off. So it's not going to work, and I'm not going to worry about replacing it because this is an El Cheapo turntable. Now, servicing that spindle, I believe, let's see. Oh, this is just like a, all right. You know, it requires probably more disassembly than it's worth at this point. Let me just see. Again, when it spins as freely as it does, I really don't worry too much about oil, you know, applying oil or grease to the platter spindle. If this were frozen, you know, if it wasn't moving as freely as it is, then that's a different story. But problem is, you remove like a plate like this, and something kind of gets out of alignment, and then you're, you know, working on sorting that out. And it looks like the screws, yeah, it's like one big assembly. So turn it like that. Yeah, there's a pulley or a gear on the back of this, and this thing is moving so freely. I'm not gonna worry about it. Maybe Turntable Guy has one where he went in and did that, because I'm not gonna do it. Yeah, I just don't see any way to do that where it makes sense to completely disassemble this, especially when it's moving as freely as it is. So we won't worry about that. Oops. That didn't go there. It goes there. see, am I missing a screw? I think I'm missing a screw. May have to review the video. I don't see a spot to put this. I'm not sure where that came from. Oh, it's probably from the bottom, I think. So that was pretty anticlimactic. No, I think that screw came from somewhere. Or it might have just been sitting on my bench. What the hell? It's only a screw. You guys are like, this guy is horrible. I may have to remove all of these screws to line that up. There we go. Except for this one. And that one. All right. Put the bottom back on, and then I think what I'll do is I'll probably just kind of speed through this, flip this over, clean it off, see if I can find a P-mount cartridge to put on here. Then we'll test for sound, see if the RCA cables are good. Again, you know, breaking that platter spindle out of that assembly to service it, I don't think it's necessary on this because that's moving pretty freely. And I think I identified where that extra screw goes. It goes right up here. All right, let's get to cleaning this thing up. You know, I think this turntable needs a few more nooks and crannies. That would make it really fun to service, because it has nooks and crannies galore. Now I'm over looking at my stash of cartridges, and I do not see. I know that I had a turntable that just came in that has I believe it has a P-mount cartridge on an adapter. Does. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the cartridge from this other table because this cartridge is good. I think it has to be clean though. But I want to at least install this so I can test out the RCA cables and see if this thing is producing sound before I get too far. Now this stylus is, I can see it is absolutely caked. And what I do with the, you know what, I might actually take you through cleaning one of these. In fact, I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go and I'm going to go into my office. Now the audio quality will change, so I'm just going to give you a heads up because I'll be shooting the video from my office. I don't know if you can see, but that stylus is bent, and like I said, the diamond tip is missing. It's an Ortofon TM something. So this one should slide right in there, like so. Yep. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to go get set up in my office and show you how to clean a stylus tip. All right, so here's the software that I use. I bought an inexpensive microscope off of Amazon. But so I've got the microscope. You kind of see that flash. So I got the microscope up here. So let's just take a look at the tip of this stylus. And everything is reversed, so like getting this in position is kind of hard. Right there we have the tip, and you can see all of that gunk, right? That rust and corrosion all over the tip. So what I do is I soak this tip for a little bit in some rubbing alcohol, and then I take a magic eraser, and then I gently kind of scrape this tip across the magic eraser, dip it up and down. You have to be real careful if you scrape it because you can actually damage the stylus. But I've done this for so many cartridges that I kind of got it down to where I have a technique where I don't damage it. So instead of having you watch this shake on the screen any longer, I'm going to go ahead and clean this, and I'll come back in about five minutes or so. Whoops, there it goes. 5 minutes or so, and we'll look at how much progress that I made. All right, so my microscope mount just broke free from my desk. But I want to show you, this is the after. It's slightly cleaner. There's a lot of rust, so this isn't a dirt situation. This is a rust situation. This is not going to be salvageable, but I'm going to be able to test it. So I'm going to put this back on just to test it. But you can see now, we can clearly see the stylus tip. It's there. It's just rust is all over, right, the end of the stylus. I can continue to try to clean that off, but at this point, I can also just buy a $20 P-mount cartridge and put it on here, right? Or a new stylus for it. So anyway, just wanted to cover that. I'll show you in the next segment when I go out to the bench kind of what that looks like when I'm cleaning it off, or when I clean it off. But yeah, so I got a little bit cleaner, and again, it's good enough for us to at least test the turntable. Sorry for the shaky cam on that, looking at that stylus, but only so much I can do. So what does that process look like? What am I doing? I take a dropper. So I have a dropper with some alcohol in it, kind of like this. And what I do is I drop a little bit of alcohol onto the tip of the stylus. I keep it pointed down. I don't want the alcohol to run up and get into the cantilever kind of assembly, because the alcohol can go back in there and maybe cause some damage to the suspension. So I just let it sit for a little bit, and then really it's just a matter of taking magic eraser and just kind of scratching the tip across it. I go forwards, backwards, side, diagonally, all that stuff. And then I check it after every couple of passes. I only spend about five minutes. Like this one, with the rust that was in there, I knew I wasn't going to be able to get it very clean, but at least it's good enough to test with now. I can replace I'm sure I could replace the stylus on this for like $20, or I can buy a brand new Audio Technica, right, cartridge and throw it on here for less than $40, probably $30 or so. So I'm going to test this out now. So let's throw that new stylus onto the table. I'm sorry, the new cartridge onto the table. And I'm not going to worry about tracking on this. I'm going to use a crappy test record. I just want to check for sound. That's all I'm worried about right now. So I will connect this to my stereo that's on my bench. I'm still running the Mac 1900 that I did I think it was the one I got off eBay, and I'm like, this was probably a bad idea. Still running it. It still sounds good. Put this on phono. Grab the platter. And let's confirm some sound. That platter weighs about 6 ounces. I wonder, no, that's fine. I'm like, I still don't know what this would be. I don't know if that is a part of this or not. So we'll grab my crappy Paul Revere. No, this is Johnny Rivers. It's either Johnny Rivers or Paul Revere and the Raiders for my test record. So let's first see if we have any hum. Stereo's on. No hum. Hit start. That was just I have a scratchy volume pot. Goes over, drops down, and I have sound out of both channels. Yeah, I mean, you know, other than maybe cleaning the stylus, this was pretty anticlimactic. You know, I better check that. I want to check that run out. Here's the thing. So what I want to do is put it, oops. Oh, sorry. I'll let you do it. Turntable's like a 2-year-old. It's like, I want to do it. Sometimes if you move the tone arm over too quickly, it'll pick it up earlier than it should. So what I want to do is just get it close, let it run out. It's probably going to take 15 or 20 seconds. I'll let it do its thing, and then we'll test it. Well, let me move it over just a little bit. It's going to be like more like half a minute. Okay, so that's the end of the record. Do your thing. There it goes. All right, so it looks like that's good. Again, I'm going to put a new cartridge on this, or a new stylus at a minimum. I think I might have a new one somewhere, but I have to do some digging to see if I can find it. So the turntable functions. We have good sound out of both channels. I think what I'm going to go on to next is I think I'll buff the I'll buff the dust cover out for this one, because this video is not going to be too long. So let me wrap this up real quick, and then we'll grab the orbital buffer, and I'll kind of take you through what that process looks like. I've covered it in several other videos. I'll do it here again though, just for the heck of it. All right. Get this out of the way. Just so happens that yesterday I was buffing another turntable cover, so all my stuff is over here. Now, if this was a more expensive turntable, it would be a multi-step process. I guess it still is a multi-step process, but step one is just to clean the dust cover off with some Windex or some other cleaner. It kind of depends on what kind of gunk is on here. I've used Simple Green, I've used Windex, I've used soap and water. It just kind of depends. I just kind of give it a wipe down real quick. It's also a good idea to wipe down the inside, because you will get some gunk on the back, and then when you go to clean it, it doesn't look like you've done much. I also do the sides, hit them real quick. I usually don't use the orbital buffer on the sides, especially on the inside. I usually don't use the orbital buffer at all on the inside, and the reason why is it does leave little swirls. So if you look closely enough, you can see the kind of swirl marks from the buffer. All right, and then for this one, I'm just going to use Novus Fine. I'm almost out, and there's really not much to this. This is not going to remove a lot of the scratches, because these are pretty deep. I think this is about all I have left in there. I got probably enough for one more. Then I grab my orbital buffer, just cheap one from Lowe's or Home Depot, can't remember where I got it. and then it's just a matter of buffing. So I'm going to speed through that. I don't think this is going to improve the look much. It'll probably clean it up just a little bit. But once I get this done, then I'll throw it back on the turntable and we'll wrap this video up. You know, I probably spend 2 or 3 minutes doing that. I'm not sure, because I usually, you know, I'll condense the footage down to 20 or 30 seconds. But I don't spend a whole lot of time, especially on an inexpensive turntable like this. I won't spend, you know, 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes on it. That's just some Windex that spilled onto this. The slip mat, it'll dry. All right. Not a real exciting video. You know, this is one of those, if you were going to find a turntable, probably at a Goodwill or a thrift shop or Salvation Army or garage sale or something like this, I think anymore, this is probably what you're likely to come across. You know, these weren't great turntables in the day. They were serviceable. They were all right. Now I haven't wiped this down yet, so you will see a little bit of residue, but you know, it's marginally better. You know, it's not much better. One thing about Novus though is when you have scratches, it will leave a kind of white residue on the scratches. So I also have Novus Plastic Clean and Shine. So in this case where I've got all these little white scratches, usually this will kind of help remove some of that and then maybe hide them a little bit. So you can kind of see where it kind of knocks those down just a little tiny bit. Again, it's not anything great, but it does help with the appearance at least a little. Right, and again, a turntable like this is, you know, the shop will be lucky to get $100 out of it. I mean, we don't mark these up or anything crazy like that because it's just a cheap little, it's an entry-level turntable. What 402 Vinyl does is they put together systems for people that are new to vinyl. So, you know, you can walk in and typically there's an entire setup. There's a receiver, turntable, speakers, and you can normally, you know, pick something up for, depending upon what we have, you can get something for as little as $300, you know, $400, $500, kind of depending on what you want to spend. We've sold them for as little as, you know, a couple, $200. Just depends on what we have. Usually it's the black plastic crap and the AV receivers and some bookshelf, you know, little tiny bookshelf speakers, but people like them. People like to come in and, you know, hey, my son or my daughter or my granddaughter, my grandson, they're getting into vinyl and I want to spend a couple $100 and get them started. And, you know, something like this was perfect for that. So there you have the Pioneer PL 670 turntable. Nothing special. Cheap turntable from the 80s. It'll work. Gets the job done. I do have to put a new cartridge on it. Maybe do a little bit more cleanup on this. There's some stuff that's kind of stuck in here. But I'm going to wrap this up for now. As always, if you like what you see, hit like, hit subscribe. Catch you in the next video.